Halima here with the Floral Guru, and today I am going to be showing you a really fun and beginner-friendly way to create a bridal bouquet. I love bridal bouquets because it is such an important part of the entire wedding. This is something that is in almost every single picture. It's with the bride the entire day. It's kind of like the superstar of the wedding. So this is going to be a nice, easy way for you to get into creating a simpler type of bouquet, but still a very gorgeous bouquet using lots of beautiful flowers. Today, I'm going to be using some roses as well as some orchids. You'll need some floral clippers, some floral tape, some water tubes, some ribbon, a pair of scissors, as well as some pins. Now I know that these are a lot of supplies, but I'm going to link everything in the description box. And if you want to know exactly how many stems I used for my bouquet, you can click the link in the description box to get a free floral count sheet. So let's get into the design. To start out, I'm going to be working with some Vendella roses. I love this rose. It's great for weddings. A really beautiful, simple ivory rose. Now for this bouquet, I'm not going to have any greenery, so I've made sure that I've already stripped all of the greens from my stem. You also want to make sure that you don't have any thorns on your stems that could potentially poke your bride. So I'm going to be working with Vendella. I'm also going to be working with a second type of rose called Sahara. This is another one that I love, and this one is a little bit more creamier than Vendella. It's a little bit more of an oatmeal shade, so this is a great rose. And then last but not least, I'm going to be working with some orchids. These are Dendrobium orchids. So to start my bouquet, I'm going to grab 3 of my Vendella roses, and I'm just going to put them in a little bit of a cluster together, just like this. So this is going to be the foundation of my bouquet. One thing to notice is where I'm holding my bouquet. I am not holding it way up here, because if you do that, there's a chance that you're going to start breaking the heads of your flowers. And I'm also not holding it way down here because it becomes really hard for you to manage and control your design. The further up you hold your bouquet, the tighter it's going to be. And the further down you hold your bouquet, the more loose and organic it's going to look. So I'm going to be making a pretty structured bouquet. So I'm going to hold it fairly high up, but at the same time, again, not so high that I am breaking the heads. So this is going to be the foundation of my bouquet. Now I'm just going to go in and just add in my next stem, and you'll see that I'm adding my stems in at an angle. You don't want to just put your stem in just like this. That's not going to give you that beautiful dome shape that we all like to see. So you want to make sure that you're always adding stems in at an angle, and then you are turning your entire bouquet so that you're making sure that you're adding in flowers around the entire design, and that helps you make sure that you have a balanced bouquet at the end of the day. So again, all you are doing is laying in your flowers at an angle and then turning your entire design. Now, one thing to notice is kind of the natural fall of flowers. You know, flowers tell you kind of how they want to sit. So this flower is falling this way, so I'm gonna just kind of turn it so that the natural fall makes sense with my bouquet. So I've added, I'm going to turn, added, I'm going to turn, and you just keep doing that. It's really easy. It just takes some time and some love and some attention to create a beautiful bridal bouquet, which is why they are expensive. When you are designing something that's smaller, a lot of people think that it's easier and it should be much cheaper. But when you are designing something that's small, that also means that there's not really a lot of room for error. So you have to pay a lot of detail and attention to how your bouquet looks. You'll see that when I add my flowers, I am kind of really touching it up against the one that just went in right before. If any of your flowers start to droop like this, just make sure you're kind of pushing it up so that you can see every single bloom. You don't want any of your beautiful flowers not to be seen. Now at this point, if you are not used to designing bouquets, your hand is probably getting tired. So what you can do is you can add a little bit of tape, or you can use a rubber band and just secure the portion of the bouquet that you already have. I'm used to this, so I'm gonna keep going. And that's just one thing to keep in mind, is that these days, big bouquets are kind of in fashion, and all the brides, at least my brides, want a big bouquet. But a big bouquet does mean a heavy bouquet. So one thing to keep in mind for the brides out there that are watching is, the bigger your bouquet is, the more heavy it's going to be on wedding day. So you'll see as I'm designing, if I see any flowers that have some petals that just aren't so great, kind of that outside guard petals, I'm peeling those off. Again, you want your bride's bouquet to be as perfect as possible. This is going to be something that's so special for her on the entire day, and it deserves a lot of love and attention. Again, which is why bride bouquets are a little on the expensive side. And you'll see that the bouquet is already coming along really nicely. You'll see that we're getting that dome shape. You'll also see that the bottom is a spiral shape, which is always a good sign that you are doing this right. So I'm going to just add a couple more stems to my bouquet, and then I'll show you how to go in with the orchids. So another tip, if you are kind of new to this and you're still learning, is to design your bouquet in front of a mirror so that you can see how it's going to look as a bride is holding it. You can also kind of hold it down a little bit lower just to kind of see it from a different angle. So now that you're done adding all of your roses, what you want to do is just go back in and just make sure that any roses that have kind of fallen down a little bit too far, you just take your 2 fingers on the side of the rose and you just pull it up. You want to make sure that as you're doing this, you know, your hands are clean, because especially white roses, they tend to bruise pretty easily. If you have oils on your hands, it can start to turn the rose a different color. So make sure that as you're designing, you have really clean hands. So I'm just going to add in a couple more stems into my design, just to finish it off. So as you can see, I am all done with the roses for my bouquet. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of floral tape. So with your floral tape, what you can do if you are working alone is just stick it to one side, use your thumb to hold it in place, and then you just want to wrap it around your bouquet one good time, turning your bouquet upside down. And then if you have floral tape, you can just tear this right off. So now what I'm going to do is add another piece of tape a little bit further up. My first piece of tape is down here, and I'm just going to take my floral tape again, add it to a stem, catch my grip, and then wrap it around another part of the stem that's a little bit higher up. And I'm just gonna wrap it around twice to make sure that it's pretty secure. So as you can see, this is my complete rose bouquet, but I'm not done. I'm going to go in and add some orchids just to give it that final luxurious touch. So for now, I'm going to put my rose portion of my bouquet to the side, just in a vase with some water. And I'm going to work on my orchids a little bit. So for the orchids, I'm going to be working with beautiful dendrobium orchids today. Now, of course, this stem is too big to put into my bouquet. So what I'm going to do is just cut off the individual petals and work with that for my bouquet. So I'm going to just snip off one of the stems. Look how beautiful that is. And this is where the water tubes and a lot of the other supplies come into play. So I have my water tube that has water. I'm going to stick the stem inside of my water tube. Then you can just place the stem directly into your bouquet. You'll see how the orchids made such a huge difference in how beautiful and unique this bouquet looks. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut the stems so that they are all even. So to do this, you'll want to use a really sharp floral cutter. And so just like that, I'm all done with my bouquet. You'll see how much of a difference the orchids made to this design. It really just made the whole thing pop. And what I'm going to go ahead and do now is just add a little bit of ribbon to cover up all of my mechanics. Just like that, I am all done with my bouquet. Don't forget, if you want a free floral count sheet listing all of the different flowers I used for this tutorial, you can click the link below to get that. And if you have any questions or ideas of different tutorials you want to see me do, tell me in the comments as well. I actually read all of the comments and would love to hear from you. Until then, I will see you next week.